Hi folks, I hope you're doing really well. Welcome back to another little video. And I do promise we'll get back to the bike packing and the long road rides very shortly. But we've had a new bike day this week, so I thought I'd introduce you to my new dinky bike, as I'm calling it, the Tern Link C8. And in this little review video, I'm going to answer a couple of the kind of key questions that I was looking for when I was searching on YouTube and looking at different folding bikes. And I couldn't find the answers to be honest. And we'll talk about the specs, pros and cons, and I'll give you my overall comments as to whether I think you should buy this bike. So without further ado, let's get into it. Whew. Such a strange road this. It's been built for a housing estate, but they haven't built the houses yet, so it's completely deserted. Cars can't get onto it. It's very much like the Truman Show, but it's a nice little completely traffic-free route into, well, where the supermarket is, where I do my shopping, and further on into the town centre. But yeah, just having a quick look at the bike. So this is the Tern Link C8. It's got 20-inch wheels. I probably should have it the other way around, shouldn't I, so you can see the chains there. Alright, hang on. Okay, that's a little bit better. So as I was saying, 20-inch wheels front and back. You get mudguards as standard on the bike, or I certainly did out of the shop. The rear rack I had to buy and put on myself. So there is a Tern rear rack you can buy specifically for the bicycle, which is £75. That's probably about £55 more than I would have wanted to pay. So this was just ordered off Amazon. It's a PVC Zool folding bike rack, and it was £21 something. And it does a job fine for the couple of little panniers that I had lying around, so I've got a really nice setup for carrying sort of groceries and bits and pieces. It's an 8-speed cassette, a Shimano Tawny TX group set, which is the very bottom of the range that Shimano produces, I believe. It's a 52 tooth ring on the front, so just a single chain ring on the front, and then an 1130 on the back. And to put that in layman's terms, not a million miles from the big ring you'd find on a road bike and a fairly small road bike cassette. So if you imagine not having the small ring at the front, staying on the big ring and putting it into the largest cog at the back, that might give you an idea of the sort of easiest gear on this this Link C8. It's okay for moderate hills. I have a little hill to get home of about 7-8%, and I can just about kind of get up there, but if it was any steeper I'd probably be getting off and pushing, to be honest. Nice kind of utilitarian everyday type saddle. It's not the comfiest saddle in the world, but it's not uncomfortable by any stretch either. The gears are twist, what would you call it, twist grip or twisty gears at the handlebar end. So they're not the kind of the thumb change gears that you'll find on the next group sets up, the higher level group sets, but they're absolutely fine, I've found, as long as they're indexed properly. And you get these nice little ergonomic shape grips on the bars, and that's actually reminded me just how much I like these and how much I want to get a pair of these on my mountain bike for the longer bike packing trips. Little bell that comes in the box, so I've just stuck that on as well. If there's any other bits and information around specs that you're interested in, if you happen to be watching this video, just give me a shout in the comments and I'm happy to try and provide the information if I can. Two things I was really interested in when I was looking at these folding bikes and trying to watch, you know, the odd review video on YouTube and get a sense of, you know, whether it was worth taking a serious look at. One was a little bit vain and one was very practical. So the vain concern that I had was the extent to which I would just look like a complete muppet riding around on one of these dinky little bikes, and I'll let you be the judge of that. I've put some kind of b-roll, I think, in the introduction to this video of me riding the bike. I couldn't actually find somebody of like my size, my height and my weight really riding the bike with the seat raised to what would be a comfortable position. You know, there were a few people that I saw on videos with a seat way low, you know, the legs were bent at the bottom of the pedal stroke, and there were a few other people that I saw riding these bikes that were considerably smaller than I am and considerably skinnier and lighter, so that was a bit of a concern. And as I said, I'll let you be the judge as to how silly you look riding these things. I think cyclists generally look silly anyway in their lycra and all the rest of it. Not that I'm wearing cycling clothes today. The other concern I had was just the extent to which I could really get the seat height comfortable for my height, which is 180 centimetres, or I think 5'11", 6 foot. So I'm reasonably tall. And just to let you know, there's, you can see that saddle is way up. It's, almost level with the bars, but there's another 4 to 5 inches to go before you get to the mark on the seat posts where you can't go any further. So that seat post really does run down to about there. There's a lot of posts still in the frame, and again, might be interesting, might be a good reference point for you. I couldn't really figure that out just looking at the reviews and looking at the specs, but yeah, in terms of me, 180 centimeters tall, the saddle height's absolutely fine. I can go way higher than I need on this bike. Incidentally, I also tested, when I was looking at these folding bikes, the B-Twin Tilt 900 from Decathlon, and that was the same. The saddle height, no issues whatsoever on that bike. Okay, what I might do here is just cut to an earlier trip this week where I took the bike. It was my first test run. I went to the supermarket, so you can have a look. I suppose you have to include this on all folding video reviews, actually folding it and unfolding it. So this was, I think, the third time I'd ever tried to do it, so it's not slick, it's not muscle memory, but hopefully it'll give you an honest look at how easy or otherwise it is to kind of manhandle these bikes. And I actually took it inside the supermarket, as you'll see right now. Okay, I've done my couple of errands in town and I'm just heading back now. Final things to mention, I think, are the pros and cons that I've experienced so far owning and riding this bike. So we'll start with the things I really like about the bike. So first of all, the ride quality is really good. It's much better than I expected, and even though it's a little dinky frame, just 20-inch wheels, the ride feels stable, planted. I don't feel wobbly, or I don't have any lack of confidence when I'm riding the bike. Took a little bit of time to get used to. The bar is so much lower than obviously you know, mountain or a road bike, so you get a little bit of a vertigo feeling almost when you first try it, you first ride it, but that went away after 5 minutes, and it's a kind of like a second nature, comfortable feel ride. So, you know, very much a kind of plus point with this bike. And incidentally, the Tilt 900 from Decathlon was the same. I didn't really find that an unstable or a wobbly folding bike either. The other thing that I really like about it is, even though I'm still a bit clunky in terms of folding it up and unfolding it, it is pretty easy. It's pretty idiot proof in terms of how you do it, and I think I just need to dial in, you know, like the position of the pedals when I fold it up, and the order of taking it down and putting it back together. I haven't committed that to muscle memory yet, but I'll get there very, very quickly, I've no doubt. Other things that I also really like about it, it's really fun to ride. It puts a smile on your face. You get a few comments, and like positive comments I should say, from other people, and yeah, it's got that kind of fun factor for sure. And I think because it's so easy to fold, it's genuinely useful for integrated journeys. And one of the things I'll be doing on this bike is, I have an organisation that I work with down in the Midlands that I have to visit every month for work, and at the moment that's a long walk down to the metro station, train into the town, then a train to Manchester, then walk across Manchester city centre, and then a train down to the Midlands. So this is going to come in really handy for that kind of trip. Morning. So yeah, I think a genuine value in terms of integrated transport journeys. And the final thing that I like about it, I should have mentioned this probably at the start because it's very minor, it's just the ability to rotate the bars with this little kind of clamp adjustment. So what that means is if anyone borrows it, anyone else uses it, and they're very welcome to, they can just quickly adjust the bars to the tilt that they want, and then when I get it I can just quickly adjust it back. So there's no need for Allen keys or anything like that in terms of adjusting the bars, and that is a positive difference against the Decathlon bike that I checked out as well. So all that being said, there are some things that I really don't like about this bike, and they include no quick release. So in the tools that I'm carrying today, I have an adjustable spanner because the dropouts require a spanner front and back. That's a little bit of a pain, a little bit of an inconvenience, not a deal breaker. The thing that I'm most frustrated with, I think, on the bike so far is the fact that the seat post doesn't have any markings. So when I'm folding the bike, I obviously have to put the seat post down, and then it has to be put back up, so I can't get it easily to exactly the same level without a couple of, you know, minor adjustments after I put the seat up. So that's a little bit of a pain, and I'm gonna have to get a little bit of white paint or something and try and mark it so that I've got that kind of reference point. It's such an easy thing that Tern should have sorted out, and again, you know, comparing with the Tilt 900 from Decathlon, that had those markings on the seat posts that made that so much easier, I should say. And the last thing, I guess it's not really specific to the bike, but I waited for about an hour and a half in the bike shop where I got this for them to set it up for me. It's not something I asked for, they just automatically did it, and I thought, oh well, you know, seems like a decent bike shop. I'm just going to do a U-turn here because I'm actually heading in the wrong direction. You know, it seems like a decent bike shop, seem to know what they're doing, so I'll get it all set up nice and properly. And it makes no difference to me because I check it when I get the bike home anyway, just for my own peace of mind. And I just found so many issues with the bike when I got it home. I was really actually pissed off with that bike shop. I won't name names because this is not an namey kind of channel, but I suppose two takeaways from that. One is, you know, always check bikes, even if you get them set up by a bike shop, because you know you genuinely don't know, unless you've used them for years, unless you really know the mechanics, you don't know the competence and the quality of their work. And I wouldn't go hurtling around on a a bike that I haven't sort of personally checked over. What I found were front dropouts were loose. I could actually twist the nuts with my fingers. Really dangerous. The plastic guard for the cassette, you'll have seen on this review, it's actually not on the bike now, but that was busted and just rattling around. What else? Mud guards were rubbing on the tyres. The front brake block on the left side was too high, so that was in danger of shredding the tyre basically. It was just a complete botch job of a setup, and of course when they wheel it out, the first thing you have to do before you get your hands on the bike is sign that little slip to say that it's been set up properly. But it really wasn't, and it's a false economy with that bike shop because they do some high-end bikes, they do some touring bikes, and you know, in the years to come they're bikes that I might be interested in buying and spending, you know, a lot more than the 500 quid I spent on this bike, but there's no way in God's earth that I'll be going back to that shop and spending any more money with them. So yeah, not a criticism of the bike per se, but just more a criticism of crappy bike shops in general. Anyway, yeah, so final comments. After all that waffle, should you buy this bike? Well, if you need a folding bike, and I think you have to really think about whether or not you need a folding bike, is there a genuine value in having something that you can stuff in a car or put on the train or a bus or whatever? Do you genuinely need a bike like that? I mean, considering this was the price, same price as my mountain bike, if I wasn't going to use the folding functionality of the bike, I certainly wouldn't buy it. But as a reasonably cheap mid-range, or certainly mid-range, definitely not the price of a Brompton folding bike, I think it's very good quality. It's a lot of fun to ride, solid components, bar the gears, which are very basic level, but actually do the job fine. And I would give it, at this stage, only a week in mind you, I'd give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. If you stayed along to this far in the video, really do appreciate it. Please consider liking and subscribing. My channel is not really about folding bikes, it's more about just rides in the Pennines and bikepacking around the UK. But if that's of interest, I'd love to have your company on some of the videos, and it'd be great to have you following along. Otherwise, stay safe, take care, and happy cycling. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.